Hi folks, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio audio live stream. I'll get the opportunity to do another one or two vids today. The meetings we had organised have been rescheduled. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the changing, you can call it a power dynamic, or you can call it sort of a legal relativity, or call it what you like, but the changing relationship difference between a supplier or even an employee and the client or the employer. Now, even when you're supplying, like as in business to business, even if you're supplying services or goods for that matter, but services in our case, then you're still, I suppose, to some degree, an employee, at least for the term of the contract. So now we deal in sort of higher intellectual property type stuff, drawing up research and development scientific papers, things like that. So anyway, we what we've noticed, and this has sort of been increasing, I guess, over the last couple of years or so. What we've noticed is that clients are insisting on a very one-sided business arrangement. Typically, we have a contract. But depends how much the value is. But typically, we have a contract, and in that contract, we say, well, this is our obligations. Here are your obligations. This is what we're agree to do, and you agree to pay us. That sort of stuff. So the details of it. Now, I'm a bit of a stickler for that because it commits us and commits them. Now, we're very reliable. We want to deliver what we've agreed to, but we've noticed that the people on the other side are not quite as reliable and often try and wriggle out of the contract or add a lot of things in that they don't want to pay for. So we have to sort of reflect that, and we're not shy about taking them to court. And if they make threats, fine, let's talk about it in front of a judge. Or if they want to try and stitch up situations where one of your employees or contractors did something inappropriate to one of our female staff, fine, let's go all the way. Let's go to court. But if you're committing perjury and conspiracy to commit perjury, then we will come after you with everything we've got. So have a think about, I don't think it's a very big issue, and we can probably let it go. And so, you have to deal with those sort of things. And a contract is something that binds the parties, but it also makes them behave because they have to return to what they agreed to. And that usually sort of forces a degree of honesty on people that may otherwise not exist. Anyway, well, what's been happening, again, over the last couple of years is people insisting, clients, and saying, they've sort of decided, yep, you're the guy, yep, we want you to do this and that. And they want us to commit to doing the job and finishing the job and meeting this or that standard. But they don't want to agree to anything, and they don't want to commit to anything. And so that sort of involves various things, because they say, well, you have to do this, you have to, but we're not obligated to do anything at all. And we can end the contract at any second of the day, on any day that we choose. We don't have to give you a reason. We can arbitrarily do it, and we don't have to pay you, and we don't have to do this and don't have to do that. And now, my response, or that of my colleagues or fellow directors, is no, that's not good enough. We're going to have to mobilize certain people, some of them quite expensive, to do this work, and we have to guarantee them, a month, 2 months, 3 months. So how long the contract's going to have, or the work will take. We have to guarantee to do that, and so we're obligated to pay them. And if you want us to deliver these services, you're in turn obligated to pay us. Now, if you've got a problem, if you think the work hasn't been done to the proper standard, or so, then we're happy to make good, and we're happy to make good at our expense, by the way. So, don't think you'll be out of pocket on this. If you've got a reasonable cause for grievance, and you can articulate that quite clearly, and point out how it's contrary to the agreement or the contract, then we'll fix it for you. There won't be any extra cost. So anyway, they said, no, we don't care about that. You damn well pay. You damn well do what we want, and there's no latitude for you to have any sort of say in how this unfolds. And Now, it's more recently, though, the pointy end of this is how they very quickly, I mean, it's bluff, of course, they're dubious or doubtful that we're going to enter into such a one-sided arrangement, but they're trying it on. But the bluster comes along fairly quickly, and they can get rather unpleasant. So if, say, I'm there and I say, well, no, we're not going to enter into that. We expect you to be obligated to the terms of the contract as we are, that we're equally obligated to do. So, well, if that's the way you fucking feel, why don't you fucking look for something else? Why don't you fuck up? Look, you're wasting my time. Why? I want you out of here, right? That sort of response. And now they quickly realise that sort of talk and that sort of behaviour and that isn't going to really work with us. It's just not going to fly. And if they want to push it too far, then we'll be talking about this in front of a judge, and they don't want that. So as soon as they realise you're capable and willing and prepared to sort of take the fight back to them, then suddenly they decide to become all reasonable and sensible. But at least they try it on, the bluster. And now this idea is we can get rid of you any time and not pay you, and we don't have to give you a reason or a cause or anything. We can just go, we've changed our mind. That's it. That is more and more really becoming the norm. Now, if you look at the gig economy and its structure, people are taken on without benefits or commitments, and they can be got rid of for anything or an invented reason. Now, 99% of the population can't fight back or won't or can't be bothered or they haven't got the money or can't afford it. We're not in that category. We're more than prepared to push back on this sort of behaviour. But you also have to balance it in the wider scheme of things, because, we've had to go to people and say, listen, you're going to end up in court for slander and libel. Now, you tried to screw us. You didn't get away with it. So don't run around town bad-mouthing us just because you didn't get away with it, you little fuck. And then they sort of look all sheepish and shy, and they back off and say, okay, well, you have to now send a letter of apology to us and to those people. But we don't know how many people they've spoken to. So you can have a look at the consequences of pushing back, because they won't look at it that they misbehaved. As far as they're concerned, you're the problem because you didn't roll over for their screwing it. But it's something that I'm noticing more and more of, and it seems to reflect a wider attitude. You'd always get some people who behave that way, but the executives that are in the brand name companies who you'd think would be behaving sensibly and reasonably and so on, they may carry on about LGBT. They've got their offices are adorned with LGBTQ flags, and we believe all women, and they got. Meanwhile, they're viciously and screwing over the worker, or in this case, the supplier of services, or trying to. And so, where are the worker rights? So, when we look at human rights and rights generally, the right to a fair trial, the right to be treated equally under the law, these things, worker rights, and these sort of that is the bigger issue that we're facing today, not whether black lesbians being made CEOs. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.